Let's now turn our eye to business. Yuka Roy has joined us here in the studio. Very good evening to you. Always great to see you.
Hi, Mark.
The French oil giant Total Energies has been taken to court in a landmark case over greenwashing. Tell us more.
Well, Mark, 3 environmental groups sued the company back in 2022, accusing it of misleading consumers with ads that exaggerated its climate commitment. According to the lawsuit, the energy giant emphasized its investments into renewable energy in promoting its goal of going carbon neutral by 2050, while all at the same time expanding production of fossil fuels. A wave of similar suits have been filed around the world in recent years, but this is the first of its kind in France. Luke Traeger has more.
Did Total Energy mislead the public over just how green its operations are? Yes, according to 3 environmental groups who initially brought the case against the oil and gas giant 3 years ago, and which has finally gone to trial.
Total ran a major communications campaign, notably when they changed their name from Total to Total Energy, trying to make people believe that they had become a multi-energy company. But the reality is that 98% of Total's energy production still comes from hydrocarbons, and more than 70% of their investments are still in hydrocarbons.
That campaign dates back to May 2021 and advertised a goal of going carbon neutral by 2050, all while continuing oil and gas production and promoting gas as the fossil fuel with the lowest greenhouse gas emissions. Total insists its messaging was part of what it called its institutional communication, and as such shouldn't be subject to consumer law. But for the environmental watchdogs, though, it's a clear case of false advertising.
In law, what can be included in commercial communication, particularly direct advertising, and what can be said on websites and social networks is very broad. And here we're providing a whole range of elements to show that there was indeed communication on social networks, on the commercial site, and in the press, on TV, and so on.
It's not the first time a court in Europe will have ruled on environmental matters, with judges ruling against airlines KLM in 2024 and Lufthansa in March over misleading the public over their efforts to reduce the environmental impact of flying. It is, however, the first time a French court has heard such a case against a fossil fuel company.
Next, Donald Trump's declared America's trade deficit a national emergency. Latest data shows it's fallen sharply as his tariffs take hold.
Well, the US trade deficit more than halved in April from the previous month as higher tariffs disrupted trade. According to the Commerce Department, the gap between imports and exports narrowed to about $62 billion, down 55% from the nearly $140 billion in March. The fall in trade deficit will likely boost America's GDP, but economists warn higher tariffs will end up hurting American consumers' pockets, Mark.
The European Central Bank has lowered interest rates again for the 8th time over the past year.
Well, this was widely expected, particularly as the latest flash inflation data came in at below the ECB's target of 2%, after raising it rapidly from negative in 2019 to a record 4% in 2023 to tame post-pandemic surge in inflation. The ECB started lowering its policy rate a year ago. The policymakers unanimously agreed to bring it further down to 2%, but the central bank's president, Christine Lagarde, hinted that it may stay at that level for some time, Mark.
Now then, gaming fans rejoice around the world as Nintendo released a new console.
Yeah, the new console, that's the Switch 2. Shops opened early to let customers get their hands on the hotly anticipated update to the popular console that's more powerful and colourful than its predecessor, though it also comes with a much higher price tag. Brian Quinn has more.
A power-up for Nintendo as its new Switch 2 console launched Thursday to overwhelming demand. Japan alone had 2.2 million pre-orders, an industry record. In Tokyo, for those who managed to get their hands on the limited supply, a celebration.
I wanted to cry, like, whoa, oh my God.
In Paris, similar scenes, as some shops in the French capital opened at midnight for the official release.
I've been waiting a long time for this console. It's kind of a historic moment for those of us who love video games.
New Yorkers, too, going all out as they waited their turn. A hybrid system that can be played either plugged into a TV or on the go, the Switch 2 is Nintendo's first sequel console. With 152 million units sold, 2017's original Switch is the third most popular console of all time. Its successor boasts 8 times the memory, along with a bigger screen, improved graphics, and enhanced multiplayer capabilities.
With the Switch 2, Nintendo is not reinventing the wheel. It's very much what the consumers, the gamers wanted, which was Switch 1, but more powerful.
Those upgrades will cost fans. At $450, the Switch 2 is Nintendo's most expensive system ever, with a price tag 50% higher than its predecessor. The company, though, is counting on its devotees to shell out, as it has few other revenue streams. Switch-related sales now account for 90% of its income. Executives and investors, though, likely needn't worry. Analysts expect the Switch 2 to sell 100 million units by the end of the decade.
I have to play that one.
I'm just trying. I don't know what I'm doing at all. Great stuff. Yuka, thank you very much indeed. More business, of course, with Yuka Roy coming up later on the programming here at France 24.